What's up, YouTube? This is Shuttle Boy, and I'm back with yet another video. Today's video, we got a big news that just broke in the sneaker world, and I want to talk about it. So let's get right into it, guys. This topic is regarding Adidas and their relations with Reebok. Now, you know this is a big deal because you know it's big when Bloomberg is actually reporting the information here. But basically, as the title suggests here, Adidas explores the possible sale of the Reebok brand. So if you didn't know already, Reebok is actually owned by Adidas right now. And it wasn't always like that. Reebok used to be its own brand, and it used to be a pretty flourishing brand up until the 2000s, like late 2000s. It just took a huge decline. And then Adidas swooped in and bought them for a couple $1 billion, and that's how she wrote that story there. But yeah, Adidas was its own thing, Reebok was its own thing, Nike was its own thing, and Converse was its own thing too back in the day. And basically, Nike went and swooped up and copped Converse when the issues happened, and Adidas kind of countered that by getting Reebok. So I think another thing that we need to state here is we've just seen with Reebok, I've talked about this specifically in a video saying that Reebok is just not even close to what it used to be, and it's a real shame, and you can just tell from Adidas owning them that that's kind of holding them back in some senses, while in other senses, Adidas is the lone reason why they're still staying afloat too. But let's get more into the article here. Like I said, this is from Bloomberg, so this is legit stuff, guys. And it says, Adidas, the sportswear giant, is exploring a sale of its Reebok brand, according to a person familiar with the matter. The company will decide in the coming months whether to proceed with a sale process, said this person who asked not to be identified, obviously, because they could get pretty much fired for stuff like this. It said the internal review is in the early stages, so there's no way of really being able to tell this was going to happen yet. They haven't made any moves whatsoever on this. But then it says a spokeswoman for Adidas said the company doesn't comment on market rumors, and Adidas shares rose 3.4% in the Frankfurt trading. But another thing that I thought was pretty interesting is it says that Reebok finally regained profitability early 2019, and they were hoping then that the CrossFit stuff, and they have a model called the Float Ride Run, so some of the running stuff would really help them grow a lot more. I don't really see that as really the end-all be-all for them because Nike's kind of taken over in CrossFit. I know Reebok, that was like their big hope was they were going to be the CrossFit people. And while they have put a lot of effort in that, I still see a lot of people in CrossFit wearing Nike, so I don't think it's working out as well as they would hope. And the Float Ride Run, while good, they just haven't really marketed that whatsoever. It's not a shoe that people are really caring about. But it also says that they're talking about here that he was hoping, basically, the heads of this were hoping that Adidas and Reebok were going to be equal brands in the effort they were putting in. Obviously, that is not the case. And obviously, that doesn't even make sense because Adidas is so much bigger than them right now that it wouldn't even make sense to focus on them equally and treat them equally. But later on, it does say that this is the one thing that is to note is Reebok in the pandemic has suffered more than Adidas brand, which is obvious. But it says that Adidas fell 33% in the second quarter, and Reebok fell 42%. So that's pretty huge. Obviously, I already have a video coming out on this talking about that in 2020, just apparel is just not an essential. So that's why a lot of these companies are getting hit hard. But because they're not an essential, they're also like the go-to thing people like to get themselves for gifts or people for gifts. So they have a lot of money coming in general. Everybody wants to buy clothes. Everybody loves to buy clothes. Everyone likes to get clothes and stuff like that. But it's also the easiest thing to cut off in your life as far as things like with spending. But this is where the most interesting thing comes in, is that it says earlier Thursday and said the parties that are interested in purchasing them would include VF Corporation and Anta, which is, wow, that's really interesting. And another thing I do want to show here is that it does say that Adidas basically purchased Reebok for $3.8 billion in 2006. So they've had them for about 14 years now. So this would be interesting for sure. It says they hoped about $2.4 billion from selling Reebok before the pandemic. He would now be content with less than that amount. So not even really making a gain off of that, but I'm sure they're just trying to get rid of a brand that's just not doing well. But like I was saying, the most interesting thing is the people that could be buying it. When I heard this, I thought for sure Nike would be the one that would swoop in and just completely take this over. If I was Nike, I would be all over that because you own Converse already. Just take the other brands that have a lot of heritage and legacy, the ones that really just need retros of stuff, and put that under your wing. I would have did that immediately. But it says they're not interested, which is odd, but whatever. Maybe they're just not in the mood to be buying stuff right now because everybody's taking losses. But VF Corp, if you did not know, this is the really interesting one. VF Corp, that's actually Vans. It's a corporation that owns a ton of different brands. But here, if you go to their website, I actually knew this already, but they own Vans. That's their big one. They also own North Face, Timberland, Smartwool, which is a socks company for like the winter, Kodiak, just a couple other really smaller brands too, even like JanSport. Ultra is more of a running brand that's kind of small still. They even own Dickies though. But they own a lot of brands, and not all of them are footwear though, but there's definitely some footwear in there, and the biggest one being Vans here. So very interesting here because while a lot of these brands do focus on performance to some degree, it's just interesting that they don't really have any footwear company like Reebok that they own. So this would be a great addition to them, but it also is very interesting because they don't really have any experience with that all that much. So it'd be interesting to see if they still release performance stuff if they were to go under this wing, or if they go more in a Vans perspective and just focus more on being the classic Reebok they know and love, just like Vans tries to stay with the classics that they know and love. They still bring out performance stuff, but I don't know. It's going to be very interesting if they purchase them. I would really like to see that. Also, I just think if they take any thoughts from Vans, I think would be a smart thing. But the other person they did say is Anta, which is a Chinese brand, which they're very much in the basketball category. They have the Klay Thompson signature shoes. They've had shoes with Rajon Rondo. They don't really have a foothold in America very well. So that's why I would think they would buy them. I really don't hope this happens, though, because I just don't see this working out all that well. Because, I don't know, the China market and the U.S. market are very different things. And, I mean, all to them if they can figure it out and stuff, but I would rather see VF Corp take this. I'd be very interested in seeing that. But, yeah, this is just really crazy stuff. I know this isn't really typically the kind of video I would put out, but I just find this very interesting that we could be seeing Reebok switching hands soon enough. I heard at one point with an interview with Shaq that he said that he would like to buy them even. I don't know what his net is worth right now, but I just don't think he has the money for that. So he'd have to pool with a couple of guys. I think that is definitely still a possible option, though, because Shaq definitely has money. But he definitely has connections with big names, too. So I wouldn't be shocked if a group of people would like to take over Reebok themselves. I think that would be the best case scenario, all in all, is not another big corporation taking over the brand of Reebok, but hopefully just a couple of guys that want to just invest in this brand and just make it its own independent brand could be very helpful as well for the brand, because right now Adidas just threw them to the wayside. They did not care about them whatsoever, and they need more focus than that. I think they need a lot more effort and resources just spent towards them. And I think that's what would put Reebok back into that really cool category that everyone knows and loves. But let me know down below what you guys think of this. Do you think anything is interesting from this? Or do you think that they'll probably just stay put, because they very well could just stay put. But I think it's only a matter of time, whether it's not right now, but later on, that Reebok does end up getting sold by Adidas, because they just seem like they don't have any interest in trying to make them great. So that's going to conclude the video, guys. Please hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, guys. And please subscribe if you haven't already for more golf weighing, more sneakers, more clothing, more Shuttle Boy. And this was Shuttle Boy, guys. And I'm out, guys. Peace.